You can see we did this back here. It looks pretty good.
Trouble.
It's not lake season, it's winter time.
Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take our 650, our channel ski, and we are going to move the exhaust to the rear. So as you can see, the exhaust comes out the side here, which is not very desirable. Carbon monoxide is very bad for you, so we're going to get that out of our face, and we're going to move it back here to the tail section back here. And what I've done is I've brought my other ski out that's already rear exhaust from the factory. And we're going to show you this is what we're going to end up with. So that's our goal for the day. So let's get started. So what we'll do first is we're going to pull the exhausts, and we're going to pull the engine. We're going to set the engine up over top behind the engine compartment here, so we have full access to it. Okay guys, we got the motor out here, and now we're to the part where we're gonna look at our aluminum tubing here. I chose to go 2-inch because I know down the road we're gonna go to a bigger engine or a bigger pipe, any kind of aftermarket pipe. 750s are gonna be 2-inch. If you have no hopes of ever doing anything more with your ski, 1 3/4 is what is factory 650. But we're gonna do, if we're gonna go through all this trouble, we only want to do it once. This is where the steering cable comes through the hull. We just need to be up above this just a little bit. This measurement is not as critical, but we're going to poke a hole right here. We'll drill a 2-inch hole here with our hole saw, and that'll prep us for the inside there. And then out here, what we're going to do is we need to make sure we leave clearance for hull extensions, because we are going to do hull extensions down the road. Those are going to be very critical. And our critical measurement is 1.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to go 1.5 inches from the edge here. Okay, and then 1.5 inches from the bottom here. Okay, those are our measurements. We don't want to encroach on either of these areas. So we'll drill the hole saw there. Okay, so we got our hole started here. A lot of people was asking about how we don't have these pre-made flanges to just install. There's so many dimensions on the back face of this thing here. There's no real way to weld that flange at the angles that we want. So you have to really do it freehand. So we'll go ahead and drill these out. Okay, that was easier. There's one of them out. There's the second one there. Okay. Here. Yep, all right. All right, that'll work. So the best way I found to do this is we take a 3/8 rod, and the idea is Right here is about the correct angle. It's not perfectly parallel because it does go uphill a little bit. I think we're off a little bit actually, but let's see here. I love it when things work out. So sometimes it may take a couple tries, but the goal was basically to get the pin through the center of the hole, okay? Now that's going to be our guide wire. So what that does is that tells us as long as we maintain, as long as we keep this thing centered in the hole, as long as we keep this parallel. So what you'll see is when I'm driving this thing this direction, we'll take the flashlight, shine it in here, and as long as that's in the center of the hole, we keep it parallel, it'll follow its way all the way through the front of the ski and we'll be able to knock this through the other side. It doesn't always work 100%, but it gives us a good guide here. Okay, so now taking like this. It's always best to take a dead blow hammer. You don't want to take anything too hard because it'll damage your aluminum. So now, take our flashlight. See how we're not centered? I don't know if you can see that or not, but we're not centered. So what we'll do is we're going to move the aluminum like this. Now it's perfectly centered in the hole. What we'll do is, this is our angle. We need to keep parallel all the way through the hole, and it should come out the other side pretty confident here. See how we're centered in the hole? We're now running parallel with this rod. So as long as we keep going the same direction we're going, it should come out the other side. Okay, at this point, we're done with this. So we pulled the guide rod out because at this point it's going to follow through wherever it goes. It's pretty committed at this point, so we don't need that anymore. Okay, as you can see, I can't see nothing. We've got it cleared. You got it clearanced. We'll go ahead and drive this home. And that's pretty much perfect. As you can see, I leave a little bit hanging out. I mean, it's not our final answer. We'll probably massage it a little bit. But, okay, we've displaced the foam, right? So our aluminum tubing is full of foam because we've just driven it straight in. So we're going to take our 3/8 rod that we used as a guide rod and we're going to poke all the foam through to the trash can. All right, there we go. Perfect. Okay. And obviously, as you see, I vacuum quite a bit because this stuff is nasty and it gets everywhere. And you sure don't want to be breathing it. We'll use Marine Tex. We'll use Marine Tex and a tongue depressor, and we'll do a nice radius on both sides, and we'll put it all back together, and then we're going to work on the block off plate next. Alrighty, so the hose clamp is loose, and what we're going to do is we got these rivets drilled out. We're going to take and put a screwdriver underneath here and just lightly pry. What that'll do, that loosens it up. Okay, just like that. All right, there you go. Then we'll use this as a template for our cover plate we're going to make, because we're going to reuse these holes. Now this, we're going to take and get a little, not a punch, a chisel, a fine point chisel, and we're going to wedge it between here to break this sealant loose. There we go. Just like that. Now we'll make the blanking plate. Okay, so we've taken the exhaust flange here and we've laid out a template here. Very simple. And then we've pre-drilled the holes and we've marked all this out. Now we're going to head down to Bullet because I don't have a bandsaw here, so we'll run down to Bullet and get it cut there. And plus I got something to show you guys too. Hey guys, we're down here at Bullet Racing. I want to show you guys my new purchase. What do you think of this? It's very green, it's very sparkly, but that's not my flavor. That's a little too loud for me. This, however, this is all me. This is what I came down here to check out today. This is their newest, latest, and greatest ski. This is their prototype boat. They're finished with all the testing on it. So what they did was, it's basically the same bottom and same hull as the V4, the V5. The tray, they modified the tray and they lowered it down, so you're actually standing on the floor of the bottom of the hull. So your feet are below the water line, which leads for a lot better leverage and turning and maneuvering. So we're going to take this home and give it a try, and we're going to put it together and we'll go ride it. So stay tuned. We got our template here. We're going to cut out real quick on the bandsaw. Shouldn't take but a second. Just like that. Takes off the rough edges. We have silicone. We have some kind of a glue residue from the old exhaust, and we got to scrape that off real quick. Otherwise, nothing we do is going to stick to it because this stuff's really old and failed. We'll take our new plate, we'll silicone the hull, because that's where we're going to put the plate to. That's where our sealing edge all needs to be. Make sure to get the holes where the rivets are going to go as well. That's crucial. I like to use the backing washers on these rivets. They work really well. That worked how it was supposed to. So we got the plate riveted on. I picked up another piece of aluminum tubing while we were out, because I forgot when I was picking up my materials. It's been so many years since I've done one of these. I'm not as proficient as I used to be. I used to have all the parts laid out, could knock one of these out in like 3 or 4 hours. But that ain't the case, so that's okay. It might be more realistic for you guys that are doing it for your first time. But we have a piece of aluminum to go from the rear exhaust to the old exhaust. Yep, 26 inches. Our tubing through the hole is 3 feet, and our tubing to connect the existing exhaust to the new rear exhaust is 26 inches. Okay guys, it occurred to me that we haven't really done a parts list that you're going to need if you want to order parts by parts for this project. The first and foremost is going to be aluminum tubing. I chose to go with 2-inch. Factory 650 is 1 3/4 inch. The reason I go with 2-inch is because I know that down the road we're going to put a bigger pipe or a bigger engine in the ski, and all the 750 stuff is 2-inch. So that being said, we got a 2-inch pipe. We got 2 pieces. We have a 25-inch piece as a filler piece to extend the exhaust to the new location where the rear exhaust goes, and then a 3-foot piece for the rear exhaust conversion itself. And we also have a 3/8 cold rolled steel dowel rod. It's 3 foot long, and we're going to use this as a guide to send the tubing through the hull. Also, you're going to want a silicone coupler. This is a 4-inch long piece of 2-inch coupler, and that'll couple the new length of tubing to the rear exhaust conversion. And then along with that, you're going to want a piece of 1/4-inch aluminum plate that's going to be 3 inches wide by 7 inches long. And that's what you're going to use to make this cover plate here. And then obviously if you don't have rivets in stock, you're going to need 4 rivets. Those are 3/16 rivets by like 1/2 inch long, I believe. So that, and then whatever sealant you use. I'm going to use Marine Tex to waterproof all this. So we've got this all taped off here, and we're going to put a coat of Marine Tex around it after we get the Marine Tex mixed up. Now the problem with it sticking to the tongue depressor, we have that solved here. I'll show you guys in a minute. But for right now, we just want to get it mixed up before it kicks too hard here. Alrighty, now what we're going to do is, you can see we've taped this off here so we can get a nice edge when we finish up. It looks pretty tough. It looks pretty rough, but it'll look better, I promise. Now we've got a pretty good sized mess on our hands. I have this tongue depressor here that I've smeared in grease and have let sit for a while. I'm going to wipe the excess grease off, okay? That should keep this stuff from sticking. We're not going to use this. We're going to throw this right in the trash because it's full of grease. Now we'll go to the inside as well. I had to put some gloves on and get in there and do it to it. All right, it's not that it's about sealing it, it's about giving it strength so that the engine vibration doesn't work it loose. So as you can see, we did this back here. It looks pretty good. Another few minutes and we'll pull the tape. It'll leave a nice clean edge after we pull the tape. We definitely want to do that before it sets up too hard. So that's our rear exhaust conversion done. Now we got to put the motor back in and button everything back up, and we'll be ready to go to the lake and do some riding. All back together, and the pipe fit a little tight. This here, the pipe is sitting, you can see how close it is to the pipe. It is sitting tight on there. And I knew this as soon as I drilled the hole. I remembered it's been probably 10 years since I've done one of these, so I apologize. The hole saw on the inside needs to be drilled right on top of the tube where the steering cable goes, and I'm talking like you need to rub it all the way through, because when the tube comes through, the steering cable goes down immediately to the bottom of the hull. So it's not going to interfere with the exhaust tube at all, because the exhaust sticks into the hull about 4 to 6 inches. So it goes away from the steering cable. So it never interferes with it. And I realized that as soon as I drilled the hole. And then when I put the tube in, I missed the hole by 1/4 inch, which raised it even higher. So that put me right into the pipe. So it might vibrate and rattle a little bit. And if it does, what I'll end up doing is putting a little dog leg in. I'll take a couple 90s and cut a 90 in half, do like a double 90 zigzag, so it lowers that pipe probably 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch is all we need. But other than that, it looks really good. I'm excited to ride it, but I'm afraid the water's too cold. We're well into winter here, and I'm really excited to test my impeller change to see what we did on it, because I'm sure it's going to yield a mile an hour or so. All right, so you guys saw in the previous video where we verified the pitch on this, it was 15, and it's even marked 15 on the deal there. But so we're going to bend it back. They don't have a 14.5 on the gauges. It's either 14 or 15. And you can see the very first one is 14. So we're going to take and just check and make sure that it's, boy, that's difficult, isn't it? All right, it might be easier to do a 15 here. Here's our 15 gauge. And our goal is to make sure it falls under it, and it does. This one doesn't, so this one here needs to be bent some more. And Glenn, if you're watching, don't judge me. There's people that do it better than I do. See how it's shallower? It's shallower than our mark. Well, I don't know if it's going to show up at all, but so the fact that it's shallower than the mark, that's less than 15 degrees pitch. We're unpitching it. It softens that screw action. So this should help us build more RPM, which will build more speed. We'll put that back together after we put the new seals in the pump and maybe a bearing or two, whatever's bad. Okay. So the bearing closest to the impeller was bad, and those are usually bad because they get all the pressure from the water in the jet pump coming from the intake tract. The back bearing is fine, so we're going to reuse it. We've got some better quality seals here, as you guys can see. The metal back seals should work better. Notice this corrosion here on the back side of the wear ring. What that is as the corrosion builds between the stainless and the aluminum, it actually grows and gets bigger. It pushes that seal against the impeller, and the impeller rubs that and grinds it away. This pump may only last another season, and then we're going to have to throw it away. But for what we're doing, we're going to have this thing out again and probably 3 or 4 more modifications to change the impeller anyway, so it's not going to matter. So we're going to go ahead and run it for now, but it's got good bearings and good seals in it again. Hopefully it'll last longer than 2 months and like 12 or 13 rides, whatever it was since we built this. But it's all good. We'll make it work. All right, we'll do it the hard way. Okay, here we go. Much better. All right, so here we go. We're all finished up here. Uh-oh. I hear a door close.
Here we go.
Here
What
comes
are we all
trouble.
finished up for?
Here comes trouble.
It's not lake season, it's winter time.
I know, that's what I was just
What are you
saying.
doing?
Just finishing up my rear exhaust conversion on the old 650.
No way.
Yeah.
Nice. Is it running?
Yeah. Well, don't have any fuel in it. We're waiting for marine techs to dry, but yeah, it's good to go.
Nice. Well, I'd say let's go to the lake, but
I know, it's chilly.
that's pretty cool right there.
Yeah, it is.
I like it.
Right? Now it's a real ski.
Yeah, the problem is it's going to be 8 months before we can ride it.
I know, that's what I was, well,
Or
I don't,
6 anyway.
No, I'm going to take it out tomorrow. I want to do a speed run. I back pitched the prop half a degree.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I want that mile an hour.
Greedy.
Yes.
Jimmy wants it all.
Yes.
One carburetor.
Yes.
Cool.
That's stock carburetor, the itty bitty bitty carburetor.
Yeah, like.
So yeah, she's all done.
Nice.
Another one down. Okay guys, as you can see, the rear exhaust conversion's not too bad. It's not a very big project. It is time consuming considering some of the other things we do to these skis. But it turned out nice, and it yields great results to get the exhaust out of your face, and actually helps with noise too. Thanks for watching.